But, I mean, we see the goal. And I'll always say, listen, he's made some outstanding stops this season, some saves where you're like, wow. And that's where I also look at it, where when you do see that goal go in, you're thinking, that's where you kind of need the clutch goalie. And he's done it before, but it's the defining moments, the big games. So the first one, I don't even care what, it was a finish. If he saved that, we would have been saying greatest save, and we would have been, but the second one you do, and that's what happens at the top end of it. You get judged very, very, I would say harshly, but you get judged differently.
Ten Hag also admitted to me that they just gave away 2 bad goals, Manchester United. Right, De Gea wasn't at fault for the first goal, but there was a lack of closing down. It was a poor header from Lindelof, as we've already spoken about. You can't afford any team to give Manchester City that kind of head start. On the subject of De Gea, it's not yet been confirmed that he signed his new contract at Manchester United. We know there's a year's option on his current salary. United don't want to activate that. They want to give him a longer deal on a reduced salary. That certainly has been my understanding, but no confirmation yet. I do wonder, just for the first time probably yesterday, watching that FA Cup final from behind the goal in front of the United fans, if David de Gea has ran his race now. He's been a good servant for Manchester United. He's been there since 2011. There were doubts initially, you may remember, about his stature. Was he commanding enough? Was he big enough to be a Premier League goalkeeper? I think he did silence those doubts. He won a title under Sir Alex Ferguson. He's won the FA Cup as well. He's won a Europa League. He's won League Cup. So he's got silverware. Regularly, he's been named as Player of the Year, which I think when your goalkeeper gets named as your Player of the Season, that's not a great sign because it means probably he's had a lot of work to do. But he's not a modern goalkeeper. If you look at the way that Liverpool play and the way that Man City play, the way that Arsenal play, they've got goalkeepers who are comfortable with their feet, playing out from the back. De Gea's distribution, and we saw it again at Wembley yesterday, was appalling. We know that Ten Hag really wants to play more progressive football, so doesn't necessarily make De Gea a good option to be his long-term number one. And we have seen mistakes this season, not just at Wembley. There was the error against West Ham as well. Didn't cover himself in glory in that 7-0 defeat against Liverpool. So I wonder, is it best now for Manchester United to move on from David De Gea and get a world-class goalkeeper that can play the type of football that Ten Hag wants? Or is it more important at this stage to spend their money on a number 9 and on a central midfielder, which seem to be the areas that Ten Hag is prioritising? It's a conundrum, isn't it? Yeah,
to be fair, I'd throw it more back to you as the United fan. So, you know, for you, it's that Ten Hag kind of wants to play a certain way, and you can see at the moment it's going to be progressive, and you're going to have to take time with him adapting to his new style. I'm talking about De Gea at the time. But you can't teach an old dog new tricks, though, can you? No, but you can adapt onto it. You know what I'm saying? You can slightly get better. But that he still was. Didn't he keep the most clean sheets this season? Yeah. Yeah. So you're talking about somebody who's kept the most clean sheets this season, and that still, it's a striker that you need. So again, you are wanting a complete package, whereas you get you sort out the areas you need most, rather than saying, well, let me go get a world-class goalie. How much is a world-class goalie going to cost? I mean, you don't keep complaining about the Glazers, but all of a sudden you're like, you want a world-class goalie, you need a world-class number 9. It's, well, let's do the ones that you need. You know you need a striker. You keep talking about Weghorst. You need a striker. You've got a goalie that got the most clean sheets, won the Golden Glove this season, and yet still the conversation is about, oh, has he run his course? Listen, don't get the game twisted. I get it. As fans, you want to be able to say, right, you want a world-class goalie, you want a world-class, but I'd throw it back to you. What do you feel is the most important? And not just a wish list. You've got to, and you got to be. They have to get a number 9, because as much as De Gea made the mistake yesterday, they did create few clear-cut opportunities. They started with Marcus Rashford through the middle. I think he's much better coming in from the left-hand side. Jadon Sancho, for me, he's been there 2 years, hasn't done enough to justify the price that Manchester United paid for him. I'd have started Garnacho. I thought he was excellent when he came on. He ran at Kyle Walker. He's got that fearlessness of youth. I think he'll be a big player next season. But they need that number 9. I think Mason Mount coming in will be a good signing because they need legs in midfield. Christian Eriksen, sadly, since coming back from injury, hasn't looked like the same player. There's a big opportunity. I think that Fred could move on. Fulham, they're really interested in him. So for me, the priority is a number 9 and a central midfielder. But my final point on David De Gea, he's been there for 12 years. That's a long time to stay at a football club. He joined a football club that
that was still, if not at the peak of their powers, they were still one of the best in the country under Sir Alex Ferguson. He's been part of the decline. He's been happy to stay and pick up his money. Has he got too comfortable as a Manchester United player?
No, like you should also know this. Man United's one of the biggest teams in the world still, even when...
But he's accepted not winning trophies, and he's accepted failures in front of him in terms of the back line.
It's not that he's accepted, he's trusted in the sense that, look, managers have come in and he wants to get Man United back to a certain point. And we've touched on this. It seems like everybody's so quick to jump ship, and when they don't, you all of a sudden use that as the brush to back them against. It's like, look, he stayed. And he didn't just jump ship when they all of a sudden they started sinking. He's like, nah, man, I know my qualities I bring, and I was here when it was good. So yet again, we talk about culture setters. He was there when it was great. He can be able to say, oh, you know what, I was around.
But has he done
players.
Enough of that? Has he shown the character and the leadership to actually say to those players in front of him who've not been hitting those high standards, this is not good enough?
Of course he has. He has, because season in, season out, he's been voted player of the season. So of course he's out here doing. Of course,
but you don't want your goalkeeper to be your player of the season.
But he still is. So regardless, that's not him. He's still, when there's shots comes at him, and the difference is with keepers, when they make a mistake, it's highlighted, you know, and it's them. It's exactly that. But if Rashford misses a one-on-one, it'd just be like, oh, you know what? It's not as, and we know this in football. So there's goods and there's bads with it. So do you ask the question, has he done enough? For me, he has. And I'm not even a Man United supporter. I look at it where, and if he does stay and he wants to turn around, there is something in being able to be part of something when it was good, went bad, and you got it good again. It's a process, because you look back at it and you can remember the good times. You remember when people were saying you lot are no good enough, and it's a beautiful thing when you can prove yourself right. So it's not easy. Don't let me get it twisted. It's not, but just to be able to turn around and say, outside looking in, well, things are going bad, jump ship, or you go to find another team that's great. You know, it really don't work like that. Sometimes you do get the fabric of the team in you that you want to have success by it. So for me, I think you've got more important areas that you need to sort out than the goalie.
Yeah, I think most Manchester United fans probably would agree. Do let us know. 03717223344. Text us 81089. Tweet at talkSPORT.